The interesting thing now would be that because of the drastic decline of the number of people who are studying literature, it appears that the youths or students or even parents, for example, are not really seeing that value that literature offers. And we wonder what are some of the other things that are barriers to why people don't study literature. We're going to hear from another one of our student audience now. Silin, is that right?
Yeah, hi, I'm Zilin.
Oh, Zilin, tell me a little bit more about why you think, or what are some of the barriers?
Okay, I think previous people have talked about mostly the skills of behind literature, but what I'm more concerned about is that what society requires, which most probably would be that after you graduate from JC, most of us, I mean not all, but most of us want to get to a university, and I think on the top of the list of our concerns is whether we are open with our choices, we can change our mind, we can have a wide range of options for us to do. And presently, I believe that the humanities, and including literature literature, history and geography and all that, right, they're not as a part of a prerequisite for any course in uni. Unlike like some science and maths courses, which are very fundamental and they are required. Basically, if you don't have them, you cannot take the course.
Right. So you feel that if in changing some of these ideas about what's needed, in the future, whether to get into a university program, which is very in the forefront of the minds of a lot of students as well, the practical ways of getting to your future career path, if we can tweak that a little bit to include literature or to enhance the experience of literature, it might be a little bit better, you think, for more students?
For me, I don't think this is possible because of the future developmental goals of Singapore, which I think will be mostly science and technology based. So they want to train people in the tertiary industry. So they will most likely be very focused on science research and all that. So Singapore needs talent in science fields, while humans is not really a field which is very emphasized in this traditional Asian society.
Right. I want to hear from our panelists now on whether they agree on this or not. Warren, do you have a view on whether or not it's true that actually the focus is very much on technical skills and not so much on humanities or soft skills?
Well, a lot of people say that now we live in a fast-paced, globalized world, right? The 21st century new economy is one that prizes certain kinds of skills, namely, creativity, the ability to act and think independently. The ability to cooperate and to collaborate and even to compete, right? So the question is, does literature contribute to those key skills? And I think those of us who've done enough of literature to know its benefits will attest to its contributions in those respects. And I think one of the most powerful things that literary texts do is to confront us with moral dilemmas, right, and complex life situations that mirror our own complexities and perplexities in daily experience. And what this does then is that it raises philosophical and ethical questions that resist simple answers, right? And if we as literature students are forced to contemplate these questions without oversimplifying the answers and the solutions, we're being trained to think in an adaptable and a flexible way, in a way that's tolerant of ambiguity, right? We develop what John Keats, right, in praise of Shakespeare, the English poet John Keats said, negative capability. So we become more capable with negative capability, which is the ability to dwell in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. So this is the real world that we live in today. We're living in contradictions, doubts, uncertainties, and we need to be able to deal and handle them.
Right. We're going to hear more as well from our student audience, whether, Warren, they agree with you that there's a lot of things in literature that people can learn that's always applicable to every situation in your life, not just in your career, for example, but in problem solving on a very basic level every day. We're going to hear more from our student audience here. We're coming to you live from Raffles Institution. Campus will return in just a moment. Stay with us.
Campus on 938 Live.
Thanks for staying with us here on Campus on 938 Live. We're coming to you today from Raffles Institution talking about today's very fascinating topic. Is the study of literature pointless in this day and age? We've had a really great discussion so far. Earlier, Warren, one of our panelists, has mentioned that literature has the ability to teach skills that are applicable in everyday life, not just in career as well. It helps you to solve dilemmas and problems and contradictions in your life. We're going to hear whether our student audience agrees with that. Hello, what's your name?
Hello, I'm Russell.
Russell, do you agree with that take on literature?
I just think literature there is a pragmatic side of it, and it's a study of, people have said it for study of language. It's being careful with your words. It's understanding how words are used and what they mean, and how in different contexts, they mean different things. I mean, there's a joke that, if an estate agent says your flat is cozy, it's compact. I mean, I think we all know what it means. It's that sort of thing, really. And I think the irony is that because it's so prevalent in everyday life, it's part of everyday life, we don't see the need for it because we already do it every day. Everyone does literature whether you like it or not. Because it's a study of words.
Definitely. So on some level, Russell, you feel that because people are in it, they're immersed in it every single day, we take it for granted sometimes, the ability to read into what people are saying, the ability to understand the nuance of everything that people are communicating to you. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
We're hearing now from one of our panelists. Sarah, you have something to weigh in on.
Yeah, I think for a student, actually, the problem may not be so much of the perception that we have of literature. I think the intrinsic value of literature is something that most people would recognize, the skills that it brings. But the problem with a student, especially in Singapore's context, is that there's always an opportunity cost involved. So if you take literature, you can't take something else. I think it was mentioned earlier something about the combined humanities subject combination. For most students in secondary schools, social studies is compulsory. So that's your humanities subject, right? And you can choose to take another subject that sort of weighs in as an elective. But the emphasis on that subject is reduced. Then if you want to take a full subject, you still have to take social studies, and let's say the other full subject is literature. Then you can't take something else. It comes at the cost of you taking something else. And this becomes more and more important as you get to the higher stages, even in university. The question is not so much of whether literature has value for us or whether literature can give you a career, but whether the pathways that are offered to you through literature lead you to the career that you want. And each student will have his or her own choice in it. Right. So I think that the solution is not so much to push forth the idea that literature can bring you to many careers and etc., but to sort of incorporate and integrate literature as a part of every career, because these are skills that are, I think, important for anyone in any job, even in medicine. Yes.
Right. We're going to hear from one of our student audience as well, Ryan.
Hello, my name is Ryan.
Ryan, you want to be a future teacher potentially. You want to study literature as a major in university. You are among the few in this room and have done a poll as well. Ryan, tell us why you feel that you want to pursue a career in literature.
Well, actually, I seriously consider majoring in literature in university, because actually all this while, this whole discussion, we've been talking about what society wants, what society demands of. But have we actually asked ourselves, what do we want? What do you actually want in our lives? I feel that if you have a flair for the language, if you have a passion for it, and we're really interested in it, why not just pursue literature, pursue the arts in general? Literature actually is of course an integral part of life, and I feel that it will be a really nice thing to do if I can actually teach it at perhaps at school level and major in university. I feel that it is literature to me. I feel that it's how sometimes we put words to express how we feel. Of course, at times when we read text and sometimes in general how we feel, our emotions, because sometimes when we encounter a situation, we actually develop feelings and emotions. And most times we can't really express it. And that's the beauty of literature. It can actually help us to express ourselves. Okay, it's been said that words cannot really fully showcase and actually explain our feelings, but it is something there for us to actually tell others, to relate to others our emotions. And I feel that if there's one skill that must be learned in society, how to deal with people in society, that is one that has to be learned. Right. And I feel that it's something that I want to do, to teach this how you relate to people.
That's fantastic. Of course, the skill of being able to express yourself well and be able to read what other people are expressing as well, something that literature definitely can teach. I want to go quickly now to Jeremy, who has something to say.
Okay. Well, it's already been covered quite extensively that the skills of literature are transferable. So a literature degree at university doesn't mean you have to become a teacher or a writer. So I'm going to continue talking about the relevancy of literature to our lives. And who says literature isn't relevant to our life? Let's just take the text I'm studying right now, Waterland. There are parts of the book that have this exact same debate that we're having right now. There is a debate over the value of history, which is a related liberal arts subject, very close to literature. And our protagonist is a history teacher, and he's trying to defend his subject from, a student and a headmaster, who both are of the opinion that the only thing important is the future. All we should do in school is study the future. And so, we've managed to get it this far without quoting Oscar Wilde, but life imitates art. And so the debates we're having right now in life, we can find them in literature. So given that, I hardly think we can say that literature is irrelevant.
So clearly, with Jeremy on those final words, I want to kind of wrap up today's discussion. It's been fascinating so far, and I think we've talked about quite a bit today. The idea that literature is definitely relevant, and we've shown that it's relevant in many fields. The question still remains, though, how exactly can we translate that interest and passion for literature that some of you have into action, into your future careers? And how can we tap on other people who are not very keen on literature and don't see the value in it? How can we show them its value? Thank you so much for weighing in today, our panelists, for coming in, and for the wonderful student audience here at Raffles Institution. This has been Campus on 938 Live. Today we've been discussing whether the study of literature is pointless. I'm Angela Lim. Thanks for listening.